Alright, today we are going to be looking at Naya Legends. Why are we bothering to look at Naya Legends? Because I always thought it was a fun deck before, and now we've got a new fun card to try out in it, which is Sir Joshua and Sir Saxon. So this is the green and white legendary human knight, 2/3 double team. Double team being when we attack with it, if it's not a token, you conjure a duplicate into your hand, and then it loses double team. If you control exactly 2 legendary permanents named Sir Joshua and Sir Saxon, the legend rule doesn't apply, i.e. you can have 2 on the battlefield at once. Each other creature you control named Sir Joshua and Sir Saxon has Battle Cry. Battle Cry being whenever a creature with Battle Cry attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Now, I originally thought when I reviewed the set that this wasn't going to be that great, and having played with it a little bit, it's actually a bit better than I thought, because when you have both of these on the board, which is obviously kind of when they're effective, giving all your other creatures +2/+0 when they attack is pretty crazy if you've gone wide. So that is what we're trying to do with this deck. We are trying to go wide. How are we going wide? Well, we're playing lots of creatures, not lots of tokens, but lots of legendary creatures. Obviously, if we're playing lots of legendary creatures, we want to be playing it around Flowering of the White Tree. So this is the white legendary enchantment. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have Ward 1. Now all creatures in this deck are legendary apart from the Delighted Halfling, and all cards in this deck are creatures apart from Flowering of the White Tree and Animist, Mite, which we'll come back to. Non-legendary creatures you control have +1/+1, so even our Halfling and the little tokens out of Squee get bigger as well. So this is basically a great Anthem effect for 2. I mean, +2/+1 and Ward 1. That basically means it's a powerhouse and so hard to remove our creatures. Speaking of hard to remove, so we've given our creatures Ward 1 with Flowering. We've got Skrelv as it is a legend, so it'll be a 3/2 for 1 if we then play Flowering on turn 2. But anyway, Skrelv is there mostly to protect our creatures, and we're running Boromir, 2 copies. This is usually appears in the combo deck with Razorverge and Elasil Core, but in this deck it is just there to protect our creatures. Sacrifice it, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So against those destruction type spells, if he sat there, he sort of serves as like a little annoying combat trick for opponents. A lot of the time our creatures are going to be bigger than theirs, but theirs might have Death Touch, or they might have a bigger creature. Having Boromir around on top of the White Tree can be a big difficult thing for our opponents to work around. So just working from the bottom up, we're running 4 of Delighted Halfling. Now Delighted Halfling is basically a must-do in any Legends deck that has green in it. I would argue in any Legends deck pretty much. It's a 1/2 rare for 1. It's a Halfling citizen, so it can add colourless by tapping, or it can tap and add 1 mana of any colour and spend it only to cast a legendary spell, and that spell can't be countered. Note that it is spell, not creature, so we can cast our Flowering of the White Tree with it, as this is a legendary spell. But note that we cannot cast the Animist's Mite with it, because that is not a legendary spell. So just a little thing to be aware of when playing this deck. Flowering we've mentioned. Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard, is the red and the green 3/3. Feels like it's been out for ages now, but it isn't that long. Sacrifice Hajar. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0 gain indestructible until end of turn. I should have included it when I was talking about all of our other preventative methods. I just forgot because it wasn't white. But yeah, one more way of us protecting all of our creatures on the board on top of Boromir. Because they're legends, we're only running 2 of each rather than any more. As you'll notice, we're mostly running 2 of each creature in this deck. Aside from the Halfling and the Skrelv and the Sir Joshua and Sir Saxon. 2 of Ruby, she's there to help us ramp up a little bit, try and deploy our creatures onto the board as soon as possible. Now that is important when you're running Djeru and Hazoret. You want your hand down to 1 or fewer so that this has vigilance and haste when it comes in. Having haste not only lets you trigger its ability to search through your top 6 and pull a legendary creature out, which you get to play without paying its cost, but also it's 5 more haste damage, and we are ultimately trying to beat our opponent down with this deck. So I like having the Ruby and Halfling combo to be able to just vomit our creatures onto the battlefield and then protect them from wrath effects with Hajar and Boromir. Note that if our opponent is playing Sunfall, we are basically screwed, because being able to exile all of our creatures, this deck only really works and aggroes people down if we can put all of our creatures on the battlefield. So if that gets prevented or wiped away, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. The nice thing is Sunfall seems to be a real rarity in decks in Alchemy at the moment. So unlike in Standard, where Sunfall is in every other deck, because Alchemy is a faster format, a 5-costing sweeper, it's getting less play. Ash Party Crasher is the uncommon 2/2 with haste of Celebration. We did build a deck around this in Standard, and it slots in wonderfully here. Being able to grow when multiple permanents enter the battlefield, well, that's why I've got loads of cheap creatures, permanents that enter the battlefield, one of which is Squee, which can be 2 things on its own, hence why we're also running Goddric, which is the 3-costing Celebration that becomes a 4/4 dragon if the Celebration is triggered. So we've got the 2 Celebration cards that we made a deck around in Standard, but we also have access to Merry, Esquire of Rohan. This is a red and a white rare Halfling Knight with haste. Has first strike as long as it's equipped, not relevant in this deck, but whenever you attack with Merry and another legendary creature, you draw a card. Now obviously pretty much everything here is legendary, so this is a little draw engine for us. Note, it is worth being careful with Merry and Djeru and Hazoret. You don't want to fill your hand up too much if you're trying to get it low to be able to play Djeru and Hazoret. So just need to think about this a little bit if you start with both of them in your opening hand, how you're going to play that. 1 copy of Frodo Baggins, which is an uncommon. It's a 1/3, but whenever he or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, the ring tempts you. Now, the ring tempts you was something I underestimated when it first came out, but having a little mechanism to build this up if it's not dealt with is really nice. It can get us in that little bit of extra damage by attacking with our lower power creatures. Also, it can just make us force them to sack stuff if they block with their higher power creatures or with their equal power creatures. So yeah, it's a nice little effect, and because it must be blocked if able, it can get rid of some of the pesky small blockers that our opponent might have lying around, especially in the toxic decks that are common in the meta. So Joshua and the Saxon, the reason I think it works well in this deck is, as mentioned, it's good in a go wide deck. It's also sort of 2 cards in one, because when you attack with it, you get another one, which is really nice, and you don't need both of them for it to be good. A 2/3 legend in this deck is a 4/4 with the flower and the white tree, so it's good. Obviously it hasn't got quite as good a stats as Hajar, but because of that ability to probably pull another one into your hand, it's quite good. Now I think if we found that Cut Down was in every deck in the format, this probably wouldn't be that viable, but again, Cut Down, one of those things that's a little less in favour these days, so I think we're going to get away with running this card. Squeeze I've mentioned, Goddric I've mentioned. We'll come back to Animist Mite. Jarsyl is there because it can help us refuel a little bit. So this is the 3/3 that can let us play stuff from our graveyard. Now note that we do need to play 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop in that order. We haven't got any 4s, so we'll never be resurrecting Djeru, but I don't see that being a problem in the deck. We have got 7 1-drops, and they're typically 1-drops that our opponent will want to deal with. People have to deal with Skrelv, or they can't remove your other creatures effectively, and Halfling is a right pain for people when we're putting all of our creatures out. So I think you do tend to find people remove this, and being able to play one of these on turn 1, gets removed, play one of these on turn 2, gets removed, play Jarsyl, they could have run out of removal, and then we get these things back anyway, so it is a nice little effect for those types of matchups. Finally, the Animist Mite is the uncommon 3-costing sorcery, but it costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature we control, so we're pretty much always paying 1 for this effect, so it kind of lines up here. Target creature you control deals damage equal to twice its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So this is a little bit of removal for us, particularly useful for planeswalkers, for example, because typically our opponent's going to be blocking with their creatures because we're going to be aggroing them down anyway. So being able to target their planeswalkers if there is some kind of awkward blocker, or get rid of a Sheldred, this is wonderful. Because our creatures typically have high power due to flowering, or just due to the fact that they are high power creatures anyway, things like Goddric, things like Hajar has already got 3 power. I mean, this is doing normally 6+ damage to a creature, which is enough to kill most things. It is a sorcery spell, and obviously it is creature dependent, but because we're running such a high number of creatures, I don't see that being an issue. Now, the nice thing about playing a Legends deck as well in Alchemy at the moment is, as you probably know from trying to build your own Alchemy decks, the mana base is a little bit iffy at the moment, so having access to Plaza of Heroes, being in sort of any mana colour land, is really, really helpful, on top of the Captivating Crossroads, and we've got some decent dual lands in our 3 colours. I am running a number of basics because I didn't want to be running too many pain lands. You can struggle in Alchemy at the moment if you try running too many of the pain lands. By the pain lands, I'm talking about the ones where you pay 1 life and you can add 1 of a colour. These. We're running it in red-white because there's no other option. I have elected not to run any creature lands because I think lands entering the battlefield tapped is just too much of a burden in this deck, and having access to these 8 lands is beautiful, and also having these basics means we're a little less susceptible to people running the kind of the land destruction lands, the fields and things like that. So yeah, I think this deck is going to be pretty successful. We are in the numbers in Mythic, so it has got a bit of a challenge ahead of it, but let's have some games to see how we get on. Alright. Let's see how we get on with this one. Could be worse. No one drop, but we're on the play. Blue and white. Do you think that's soldiers? That's the only deck that's viable, isn't it? This tier. But then, no, Esper. Okay. So it's probably going to be the Esper control-y type deck. Yeah, okay. Okay. So they're probably playing Porcine Portent, 3 Blind Mice, Stolemaker. That's probably what we're looking at. So they can't afford to let that die because then they get nothing for the 3 Blind Mice. If they Dolemaker this now, we may be in trouble. This is probably, yeah, Alf's version of the deck because of Reprieve. Let's crack the 2 of these in. Can definitely pressure a bit. This does take a little while to get going, so we have got 2 Goddrics to fly over the top as long as we can keep enabling their celebration. 2 things in there, so we need 4 other cards, okay. At least the opponent's having to have a long hard think with the probably the best deck in the format at the moment. If they go to kill one of those, that's excellent because of the other one in our hand. We immediately get the reward back anyway. Yeah, why they're doing that in their own turn, I'm not sure. So, let's plop that and that in. That's a win. Unless they've got a removal or a bounce or something. If we can beat that deck, you know we're in with a chance on the ladder. Alright. Next game. Yeah, I mean we've got this delightful combo, so let's give it a go. Hope there's no removal for the halfling. See, no one running cut down these days. Getting Squee down on turn 2 is just so vicious because you've got 3 creatures. Nice. So we'll go Skrelv. Don't want to play Goddric until Skrelv can untap, but we'll play Ash. Bit annoying, I wish it had tapped this. It's 1 more damage, we just gave up there. Fine, I'm still getting in before. And then we got Skrelv for Goddric. Nice that they're playing Go for Throat. Probably means less removal for Skrelv. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. finding is like a Sheldred now and they're getting a bit stabilised, which, you know. Okay, we're not worried about that card. Not yet. No, we didn't want to attack, shame. I think we'll lose life for now. We don't want to give them free cards for nothing. Like extra chances at finding removal. Okay, we lose 0. Wonderful. Not exactly what we wanted, so if we play this, it doesn't matter what. So we could Skrelv through Squee. This could be blocked. That would be good news because this would be gone. And then we're getting him for, they could block one of these obviously, or they kill this. Okay, let's do that. Interesting. That puts them one attack away from being dead. Obviously, they could have something brutal here, like Gix's command. No. I wonder if they've got removal for Goddric. I think we'll just lose life again. That's pretty... Don't you do this to me, game. So, if we attack with Squee, they could gain 6 back by blocking. Hold on. But then this thing will get flying. Okay, they can't kill this for 1, right? So the thing is to just do this. Because this has got Ward 1 now. Fine. That's what to do. Just my brain was malfunctioning a little bit there on the solution, but we got there. All right. No pants. Great name. Ugh, not my best hand, but we have got Skrelv. Okay, it's the red tokeny deck. I do want to make one of the red tokeny decks at some point, but I don't believe that they're that good. But I don't know yet. Here's some more tokeny tokens. Let's just get rid of 1. I should have played this Gorge in the chance that we draw another red land. Oh well. Bloody hell. We could be in trouble here. Just because I said the decks aren't good. If they're holding the Burn Bright, which is what they're all running, then we're in trouble. Boromir. Interesting. I was going to attack with the Skrelv anyway because there's no point holding it open to pay 2 to save this when... Yeah, they could have Burn Bright anyway. It doesn't look like they have got Burn Bright at least. Sadly, we haven't actually got a second red land. We've got lots of land, but no second red land. If there are any chances that they don't have what they need to have and they just have to smork through. Because then we can Animist Mite and get rid of this and... You know. If they've got the Burn Bright, we're already dead. Because that's 9 damage. Not yet. Okay. Fine. I haven't got any pain lands, but why was it being weird? Get rid of this just because it's the biggest creature they have. Surely they can't do 4 damage. No. So they could put us on 1 next turn if they don't top deck anything. If they top deck anything, well, yeah. We got very unlucky and they got very lucky, and that is just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Alright. Let's just, yeah, maybe we should have mulliganed the last one. It was a difficult decision though. This is more like it. We've got none of our 1-drops, but we've got lots of things. As I always say, if the opponent says hello, they've got the banging start. Ah, there's a 1-drop. This doesn't facilitate Merry, but Merry isn't one of the 2-drops that we want to be playing on turn 2 unless we have to anyway. We always want them to burn this because then we've got something to Jarsyl back. They did not burn it. At least we've got a block up of that. Yeah. Let's do. Let's do it like this, please. Flipping auto tapper with these halflings, you've got to be careful. It does try and get you. Sir Joshua and Sir Saxon, leave them alone. Thought about playing Boromir but then it just takes them to attack with this and Monstrous Rage, and then we lose Boromir. Like we take more damage. Yeah, just these things. They're dangerous in this meta. Quite nice to have a land so we can play both these. Hold up a blocker, attack with this, not like this and this. Double team, start to look better. Maybe they'll shock the halfling and we'll draw a land and play Jarsyl. Playing with fire a little bit, not playing Jarsyl while we can, but I wonder if they've got a Monstrous Rage or something, but what are you thinking, Mr. Squee? Okay. We could Merry, attack with this and this, and then try and draw another land, play this. I think that's... Oh. Yeah, okay. The problem is, yeah, we can't use this land. And so if we don't draw a land, Squee can attack with no problems. If we don't draw a land, we could be in shit creek anyway, right? Shit creek is real. 2 lands in 11. You motherfucker game. You motherfucker. We don't have anything with lifelink in here, do we? Not really. Not really. Where are the lands, dude? What? I'm letting Squee attack it and just print 1/1s is so painful because we're down to 8. If any of these are Monstrous Rages. I think we're already dead. Yeah, they were there. Oh, come on! Come on! What is this? What is this absolute BS? Not the. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're just dead anyway. They just need to do 3 damage to face. They could even do that with any Lightning Strike, Monstrous Rage, 2 other any spells. And we're still over a turn from winning, so I don't see a good way out of this. 5, 7. We've got 8 damage as it stands. So even if we draw a red land and play this, it's only 11. That's not that good. We could play this, give this battle cry. That's quite good. Gotta make them have it. How did it take you that long to think about that? Alright. Ridden. I feel like harshly done by it after the last 2 games. 2 Skrelvs and no red land. I can't do it. We can take this. We'll just scrap that. Actually, no. Let's not take a pain land when we don't have to. We're on the draw, aren't we? So Crossroads is fine. Okay, one of these. Yeah, play your Rock Priest turn 1 and say hello. Uh-oh. Mighty, whatever it's called, Giant Growth, yeah. Got a block though. You cannot let them through. Gotta get the blocker in. They're down to 1 card, so... Interesting. Come on, man. How have they got 2 Rock Priests and I've just got 5 lands in the top 9? I can't target them, can I? Not unless one of them dies. Okay, 1 gone. Can you please draw some lands? Oh, come on. So we could target this whilst the other one's not here. If they've got any kind of proliferation spell in their hand, we do just die, but... This way we can pressure lethal. They can target it, can't they? Come the fuck on. Okay. Heracles is there. Okay, an actual half decent hand. Mulliganing, so they're probably playing Toxic. Some kind of toxic deck. Literally the toxic keyword rather than. We'll tell if they play. Okay. Not what I expected. Blue white. Is it soldiers? Soldiers, or is it control? Soldiers, okay. Means protection from the card type of your choice. At least we can kill it cheap enough. So, can't play, let's just play gonna bounce it to your hand? No, resolute reinforcements, okay. So then they can choose one of these and say creature. Yeah, that's fair enough. They could trade this for this and 1 damage, which would be okay for us. We're gonna have some more stuff in the graveyard soon enough. Opponent got a land screwed a bit, I think. But we needed a win. Alright. A little bit too much land, but we got a 1, 2, 3. Or a 1, 3. Interesting. Actual turn 1 removal. Not so bad since we have Jarsyl, but still. We're going to use a removal on this as well. More cut downs, okay. Interesting. And then they got stuck. Have they got removal for Jarsyl? They have. I should have used Squee. I thought maybe they would be out. That was a bit of a blunder. I mean, it does look like they've kept a hand where they don't have anything but removal. And Squee will build us up some damage nicely. They just kept a hand of removal. Punished. Alright. Lone Hawk. Decent enough. We need this on red and on white at the moment, but we can play this first. Although We do kind of need to play this first so that we can then do something on turn 2. And unfortunately, these 3 all have red in them, so it's going to have to be red. And we have got more sources of white. I'd rather be able to play Merry and Squee than the Flowering. I'd like to be able to play all of them, but... Flipping Razor Black Shark V3, this headset. Very fancy headset, and yet the cable, so it's wireless, right? The cable comes out, but I keep it plugged in because a lot of the time I'm playing for a while and it dies, but the cable's a bit dodgy, annoyingly. Don't you counter it. How lame. How lame can you be? I wonder why they didn't attack. See, if only we had our 1-drop, the Delighted Halfling would mean they couldn't counter. Fairies is the deck we need it for. They've learnt to attack. There is our Delighted Halfling. Let's try and resolve it. They could counter it with Spell Stutter. Okay, let's try and resolve Ruby. Ruby's less important this turn. So they... So I'm trying to think of the different fairies that have flash. One of them is a 2/2, I think, which would make attacking with this bad. Oh, we're going to draw anyway, right? So I think it's probably worth it. Trying to think what the fairies were with flash. It's the like 2/2 blue black uncommon that like does 1 damage when other fairies come in. But it's more likely masterminds, which then is a reasonable trade for us. Okay. They actually traded off the Merry, which is interesting. Didn't want us drawing more, but that's alright. We've got a good little thing going now. We can play Flowering with this, and it's uncounterable. And if we draw a land, we'll play Ewan, and if we don't draw a land, we'll play someone else. Oh, we might keep that for the Somniphage now. So let's play this. Exile creature and opponent controls greater power. Yeah. Let's just attack with Ruby, shall we? Can play this actually and attack with this. Got ourselves a free Squee. So this, I suppose the problem is this is going to need loads of creatures in the graveyard with the Flowering around because it's going to have 5 power. So this needs to have at least 6 power. To be able to exile it anyway, so let's not wait around for that. I think we might take this out of the deck and just add another Djeru. I'm not impressed with this card. I thought we'd try it again. Even here we can't get rid of Sheldred. Which has got to be one of the things that we care most about. Have we got any 1s in here? No. Let's take Mary then, shall we? So they'll probably block Djeru with Sheldred, but maybe not. I mean, they've got some free blocks, it's just that Djeru's printing us creatures. Okay. Okay. Alright. Supercar guy. I did remove the Ewan after that game and chucked in 1 more Djeru. Okay. We can probably go Flowering first. Although I want to play this first. We've got enough 2-drops that we can just play this and hope to draw another land, I think. Yeah, okay. Flowering first feels good. Because mono red struggles like shit to remove cards if you play this. Mono red goblins though, eh? Cut that 5-4. I think when you're playing goblins, you're usually the aggressor. Were there any new goblins? Ooh, double Runvelt. I don't want to die next turn, but I think we're okay, right? Should we play this on red? Yeah, it doesn't matter too much. It's starting to get a bit painful here, opponent. We've got a blocker as well, so I feel quite safe. Blocker with Ward 1 and 4 toughness against red. I mean, the thing is, I'm going to say worst case with goblins is you just sit back and block with everything and, you know, you get loads of cards, but yeah, it was probably over. Okay, so it's a quick look at the stats of the deck. So I have played a lot more than let on in the video because I've been having so much fun with this deck. Look at the climb it had for me in Mythic. I started with this down at the bottom of the numbers again where I was messing around with other decks after I finished. Look, Porcine Portent got me up to 450 and I kind of dropped down messing about with other stuff. This deck's got me all the way back up into the decent numbers again. 78% win rate. Purely in the numbers in Mythic, so you know it's half decent if it's putting out that win rate in this arena. And also, if you just look at all the common decks we play, we're beating. Our losses have been to like awkward things that you don't see very often. If we could beat mono red reliably, and look at this against mono black for a creature deck, it is unheard of, and it's because of all the protection that we have from Flowering, from Skrelv, from Hajar, from Boromir. 6-0 against mono black. That feels good, man. That feels good. And being able to play 27 matches in an hour and 37 is crazy fast. This deck is super fast, super fun. What more can I say other than go and try it yourselves, and then don't forget to leave a like if you enjoy it. See you later, guys.